Would you tell me your name and spell it?
Dale Thistle, D-A-L-E-T-H-I-S-T-L-E.
And you grew up in Sharon?
Yes.
How old are you?
46.
And how long have you been working on this, renovating the Wilbur Farmhouse and being curator?
I think we signed the lease 3 years ago.
What possessed you? It's a huge job.
Well, growing up in Sharon, I used to come to the park since about 7th grade. I used to come to the park all the time, and we used to, play frisbee. We used to actually skip school a couple of half days. We'd come here. We used to fish down there, and I just loved this park. So when I graduated high school, I went into the service. I was overseas for a while. Then I moved to California, and I used to get homesick a lot. So every time I'd come home, I'd come to the park too. Me and Leah, we've been together for a little over 8 years now.
And could you spell her name for me?
Leah, L-E-A-H, Smith, S-M-I-T-H.
Okay, and you live in Sharon now, or?
No, we live in Foxborough.
In Foxborough, okay, yeah. Okay, so the two of you...
So we've been together for about 8 years now, so she was definitely a positive force in the decision-making process to undertake this curatorship.
It's for a long term. Is it like 20 years at least? Or?
Yeah, it's a 30-year lease. So
you're pretty much deciding into your senior years, into your older age a little bit.
Yeah, my doctor told me that on Monday, actually.
No, I mean, it's like, you know what your retirement, quote, retirement home is going to be.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Right here. And that's kind of, I mean, like Massapoag's right down the street. This place is beautiful. 1,700 acres where no one can build behind the house. We're involved with the park. I'm on the board of directors for the Friends of Borderland also. So we have a very close relationship with the park. Yeah, it's...
What condition was it in, and what do you have to do to it before you can live in it?
Well, it was pretty much uninhabitable. So the older part of the house, the 1786 part, needs some minor, not a lot, but minor structural repair. But there's no insulation on this side of the house. There's holes in the wall, there's holes around the windows, there's the heat system works, but it's oil. So if you turn the heat on, everything's just going out the wall. So it has to be fully insulated and sheathed, and the building needs to be made tight to the weather. We have water, we have electricity, and pretty much in the older part of the house, everything would have to be done. A complete reconstruction of the envelope of the building, the exterior sheathing, and the interior of the building as far as finishes. Before I took it over, the state did the lead paint abatement, so that was a good thing. And still all of the finishes inside need to be 100% refurbished. So there was a kitchen L, that's the new part of the house, the post and beam. There was a very small, it was about 16 by 10 little kitchen in there, and there was a couple cabinets, and there was a sink in the middle of the room. It was kind of awkward. You walked in the front door, and then the kitchen sink was right in front of you. And that foundation was, well, there wasn't a foundation. It was the sills of the building right on the dirt. So that's pretty much uninhabitable by today's standards. So we took down that kitchen L, and then this part of the house, the post and beam, has it's a little large. It's a small basement, but it's larger than a crawl space, so it can actually do some stuff down there. But that's built to code. So the basement's to code. It's everything in there's to code, and that's post and beam in order to try to match the original construction. So the frame for the new addition was actually, all the wood was cut over here in the yard, and it was pre-assembled. So it was cut by a carpenter that I hired and some students from the North Bennett Street School, and they basically taught me how to do it. So we had all the lumber dropped over here in the yard, and we cut everything to size, and it was basically a design build. There were no drawings. And it was dry fit over here, and then after everything was put together, it was taken apart. Everything gets numbered and stacked up into its respective areas. Floor joists over here, roof rafters over here. And then last September we had a raising day, and 120, I'd like to say volunteers. There were some volunteers, but it was mostly friends and family. Showed up, and we had the entire structure up over here, the frame, up before noon. So we started at 7 a.m. Other people started showing up at about 8, and we just made an assembly line of people carrying the lumber over, and it was up in 4 hours.
That's so impressive.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. I was in shock most of the day myself.
When do you think you will be able to live in it, the two of you?
If everything goes as planned this summer, then the best case scenario is this fall we'll be able to move in.
And the way it works is you are putting in the sweat equity, and do you pay for the materials too?
Yes.
But they keep a credit of how much you're spending, so it goes against future rent.
Yes.
So you're really working for your future.
Yes. Yes.
And how did you know how to do all these things? Were you in construction, or?
I work in the construction industry, but I'm not really hands-on. I'm an acting project manager right now. So I'm either a project manager or a superintendent in the field. So I see construction all the time. I know textbook construction. I've never really done it myself. So this is kind of a first go for me too. The goat house and the chicken coop behind you are like my practice stuff for the real house.